All right, guys, thank you for that carrier update there. Right now, we're going to welcome our next live guest. We've got Jay Grimes with us, who's the Director of Affairs at OOIDA. And we're excited to get into this because it's piggybacking off of what John Gallagher was talking about.
Yeah.
So, Jay, thank you for joining us. And let's kind of get right into it with your initial reaction to what's going on with Robin Hutchison in the confirmation hearings at the FMCSA.
Hey, great to be back on with you. Yesterday, FMCSA Administrator nominee Robin Hutchison testified before the Senate Commerce, Science, and Transportation Committee as part of her, process in getting confirmed to the position. We haven't had a Senate-confirmed FMCSA administrator for coming up, 3 or 4 years now since Ray Martinez. So she took a lot of questions from the committee members. From our perspective, we thought the overall tone focused heavily too much on this myth of a driver shortage. Ms. Hutchison herself, when asked if she thought there was a driver shortage, said yes. And that was a little bit of a new response from the administration and from FMCSA. As I think the focus is really on driver retention and improving driver retention. And as part of addressing driver retention and perhaps filling a driver supply, Ms. Hutchison and a few other senators were really prioritizing the Safe Driver Apprenticeship pilot program, which when that's launched is going to allow under 21 drivers to operate interstate commerce. And we certainly have a lot of safety concerns with that program, as well as a lot of driver quality issues that, these under 21 drivers aren't going to be treated very well, aren't going to be compensated very well. And this program isn't going to solve, really the systemic problems that need to be addressed, whether that's truck parking, improving driver compensation, valuing a driver's time, reducing excessive detention time. So we feel there's a lot more, pressing issues that need to have some regulatory actions before this under 21 pilot program is launched. And I'm not sure we got that sense from the hearing yesterday.
So, Jay, what, in your opinion, why do you think the focus on the shortage of drivers, which you say is a myth, and there's certainly evidence to your argument for certain, but why do you think the focus on that rather than on some of these, as you say, and I agree with you, more important issues?
I think it's kind of a narrative that, we know the larger carriers are promoting with senators, and certainly a lot of senators and House members have kind of bought into it. And, it's kind of a somewhat easy concept to grasp onto and kind of buy into. But when you look at the economic numbers, the research and the data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, who has done study on this, when you look at the numbers coming out from FMCSA, when you talk about the hundreds and thousands of CDLs that are issued annually. When you look at, I know earlier this year, FMCSA this year so far says they've had a record number of registrants for DOT numbers. And then when you look at the driver retention numbers and turnover rates exceeding over 100% in some sectors, it's pretty clear that the companies that are treating their drivers well, providing benefits and fair pay, aren't really having these turnover problems and are having drivers with them and for long periods of time. And that, of course, with more experienced drivers, you're going to have better safety rates. So I think, we really want FMCSA to prioritize the driver retention issues, which are really going to have the most effect on driver safety and highway safety overall, and really, make trucking a more sustainable long-term career for the thousands of individuals that are entering the industry.
Right.
Jay, I want to get your thoughts on Ms. Hutchinson's kind of inclinations around the Drug and Alcohol Clearinghouse and her thoughts for hair testing and allowing that to be a viable option or an alternative option for some of these companies as opposed to urinalysis. Can you talk about that and how that fits into the retention space as well?
Yeah, I know she was asked about hair testing, and she mentioned the HHS guidelines on that. So that's, in the regulatory process, hasn't really advanced anywhere other than a proposal. Certainly, we have a lot of concerns about any hair testing mandates when you look at the false positive rates, the costs involved for drivers, and we really don't think it makes any sense at all when you consider some of the legal concerns as well. And even in that HHS notice, they acknowledge some of those legal concerns. And so I think there's a long way to go on that. And we'll see if DOT, ever gets to the point where they're in a position to adopt those HHS guidelines. And I think there's still a whole lot of pushback when it comes to hair testing, and certainly others in the industry are pushing for that. But when you look at the science and really analyze the data, it's not ready to be mandated in any fashion and should not be adopted by DOT. So we'll continue to watch where that rulemaking goes. I think right now they are further along on the oral testing guidelines and just released an initial proposal there. So I think that's where we'll see the next action when it comes to drug testing from DOT, and FMCSA is adopting the oral testing guidelines, which are much more firmly backed up by science and could provide a lot of cost and convenience benefits for drivers as well.
Yeah, excellent. So, Jay, really quickly, I spoke about the positions of automation, right? And kind of how there's this push towards automations from a financial aspect of pulling the drivers out, and it should be moved forward and regulations put in place because there's a driver shortage and it could solve this. Versus automation can help the safety of the drivers that are actually in there. And I clumsily tried to explain how the difference is between OOIDA and what is going on there at the FMCSA. Can you speak to your position on automation? Because I don't want to label OOIDA unfairly as against technological advancements. I know that's not true.
Yeah, no, not at all. I think our position, if the technology is safe and rolled out in a practical way that helps drivers, we're for it. But we have not seen that data yet. And, I think NHTSA is going to be releasing some data on autonomous vehicle manufacturers and developers that they've required over the past year or so shortly. So that's going to be interesting to see here in the next couple of weeks. We're really, pushing for more transparency when it comes to the performance of autonomous vehicles and autonomous trucks that are on the road right now, because there's simply so much unknown. So, we're skeptical that all this technology is working as well as some of the manufacturers say it is. But we do want to see more data, more transparency on that end. So I think NHTSA is about to release some of that, which could provide some more insight.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Jay, really quickly before we let you go, we got the thoughts from OOIDA President Todd Spencer in our inbox this morning, and I just kind of wanted to see if you could summarize that really quickly. At the very end of his thoughts, he specifically brought up the proposition of speed limiters and other regulatory policies that could go into effect pretty quickly once this confirmation hearing is done. Can you just comment on Todd's position at all, and if there's anything else specific in those comments that you think you would like to highlight?
Well, I'm not so sure that the speed limiter mandate is going to be adopted quickly. That's certainly one that the public comment period is open, and certainly one that we're opposing. But the notion of FMCSA, kind of reopening that rulemaking and certainly pushing for this under 21 safe pilot program to get launched before really addressing some of the long-term issues that need to be fixed within trucking to improve driver retention. I think makes us wonder what policies are going to be prioritized under Ms. Hutchinson's leadership. She's going to have a chance to answer some more questions for the record here that the committee is going to look at over the next couple weeks. So, wanting to hear more from FMCSA really about what they're going to prioritize moving forward. That speed limiter docket is open until July 18th, so encourage anyone out there to submit public comments, and that's definitely one that we have various safety and operational concerns about.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Jay. You have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll catch up with you guys a little bit later. Right now, I'm going to toss it to a quick break.